Bandwidth for today's show is brought to you by SoftLayer.com. We love SoftLayer here at Talkapolis. They are the greatest hosting company ever. They make everything easy. Check out their website at SoftLayer.com. Thanks again for sponsoring the show. Jeff Meeks and Chris Austin invite you to watch your favorite sports event at the Batter's Box at 43 Hermitage Avenue in Nashville, Tennessee. The Batter's Box offers shuttle service to all Titans home games. It's a great place for friends to gather for the game and after the game. So check out the Batter's Box Bar and Grill, and thanks again for sponsoring the show.
Microcasting for your city, Talkapolis.
And welcome back, everybody. The final segment of Pit Pass this week. He's Larry Woody. He knows everything. I'm Joe Williams. I'm so stupid I make him look even better than he really is.
If you don't know it, fake it.
That's always been my motto. And it works about 40% of the time for me, Larry. We talked early in the show about Danica Patrick coming from this great run at Daytona and this not so great run. Yes, she crashed. She was 39th and she crashed. But she qualified 40th, which is way different than sitting on the pole.
Been a bad week all around.
Yeah, and did not run at the front, if you will. I thought she ran a pretty good race. I thought she did the things she needed to do before the crash, and the crash was caused by a tire failure, and she wasn't the only one who got bitten by that. It sounded like a defender, but
in this sport, it's results oriented.
Exactly.
The bottom line is Danica had a miserable week at Phoenix after having a tremendous week at Daytona.
And a lot of folks go, okay, well, here's the real Danica. Now, by the same token, you've got Dale Earnhardt Jr., who struggled some the last few years, looked better last year. Now all of a sudden he's second in points. But Larry, we're 2 races in to the season of a 36-race season.
Yep.
Is it too early to really look at these two and go, this is what's going to happen?
It is. It's way too early because you're just 2 races in, and this thing can turn on a dime. It could, somebody, and Danica's being a perfect example, can have a super week one week and just fall completely on her face the next week. And again, like I said, on the same token, don't rule her out yet. But the junior fans, the junior nation, they're practically giddy out there because junior, maybe this is the year junior could win it. And again, I picked junior to win it this year, more out of my heart than head, but I did pick him to win it. But again, you've got to remember, 2 races, junior could be, 35th in the standings. It can turn this quickly, and particularly with the point standings the way they are, where it's 1 point per position. You can lose a lot in a hurry with one bad race. But I think, Joe, this is one thing that makes this sport so interesting because it can turn so quickly. You got a lot of these sharp curves and 45-degree turns in the sport. I mean, you're on top one week and you're on the bottom the next week, and then you say, "Oh my gosh, my junior's out of it." The next week he wins the race and is back on top of it. So no wonder NASCAR fans are so jittery. So the basket cases, I mean, they yank their emotions back and forth week after week.
Would you call us potentially bipolar?
Oh, of course you would be. But no, that seriously, Joe, that is what makes it fun. I mean, there's no matter how bad you are this week, there's always next week. You put last week behind you, and you hitch up your britches, and you get ready for next week. And I think that's what makes it so interesting. And a lot of other sports, it seems like there's sort of a trend. If the Titans start off poorly in the season, they tend to kind of go along that same line. Or if a team gets off to a good start, usually they tend to kind of play up there and stay up there. But in NASCAR, like I say, it's like a graph on my investment portfolio. It's here one day and down here the next, and it'll make you a basket case, but it sure is interesting to watch.
This week they load up and they go to Las Vegas.
Viva
Las Vegas. Now, Larry, I got to be honest. I took my wife Becky to Vegas for the first race. It was a landmark birthday for her. And that was so obviously, by the way, happy birthday to my wife Becky, because it's a between landmark birthdays, we'll call it. There's a 5. I'm not telling what number's on the front end because I don't want to die, but there's a 5 at the back.
Does Becky deserve congratulations or condolences, Joe?
She's been with me married to me 26 years. I think it's condolences.
But anyway, off to Vegas.
And the first race in Vegas was without a doubt one of the most boring races I have ever seen in my entire life. Mark Martin walked away with it. The most excitement the entire day. Jeff Bodine spun out, coming out of 4, trying to get to the pits in the first 10 laps.
It was mind-boggling. I covered that race, and somebody in the press box asked Mark about about what you said, what a boring race, Mark, and he got real defensive. He said, well, it's pretty exciting where I was sitting. Right. Well, the trouble is, Mark, I'm sure if you were in a race car going around the track, it's exciting there. The trouble is all the fans in the grandstands weren't sitting behind the wheel of a race car. Granted, if you're out there on the track, it's very exciting, but it was boring as watching a tank run dry, as you said earlier, Joe, from the stands. Now, to Vegas's credit, I think they've perked up the show a little bit. They realized, if you're going to put on a show like that in Vegas, it's not going to have a very long run. So they cranked it up a bit. I was there, Joe, and I remember the thing that sticks in my mind that some sports writers, friends of mine and I were going down the strip a night or two before the race, and we've got all these marquees up there, Dean Martin, Frank Sinatra, all the big name stars, the biggest of the big entertainers. And on one marquee, it's got "Welcome Hermie Sadler" among all these top Vegas entertainers. So you realize that, Dorothy, we're not in Kansas anymore. We're on the Vegas Strip, and Hermie Sadler is here.
Is the top dog. Well, they'll go back this weekend, Larry. You're right, to a very different track from the first one. They've made a lot of improvements. The races have gotten to be a whole lot better. Vegas has kind of embraced the NASCAR brand, if you will. The awards dinner is now in Las Vegas. This actually could be a lot of fun from a fan's perspective.
Sure, the high rollers meet the fast rollers. But and at one point, Joe, I don't know what the statistics were last year, but at one point, the NASCAR race weekend was the second biggest draw in Vegas, second only to the New Year's Eve weekend. That's what, and this is a city worldwide famous, internationally famous for its entertainment, and the second biggest draw in Vegas is a NASCAR race.
Actually bumped out the National Finals Rodeo in December, which was considered something that would never happen. Yeah.
But no, it's a fun race, a good venue, and kind of like Dover, the fans can spend their money a lot of different ways besides just on race tickets at Vegas. But I enjoy it. As I say, I've only been out there one time. Went out for the opener, and but it was fun. I remember Sterling Marlin won a race out there, and the AP moved a picture of Sterling standing between two showgirls with the feathers and the tassels and everything blowing in the wind. And Sterling had a big smile, on his face. I wasn't sure if he was happy he'd won the race or happy to be between two Vegas showgirls. But no, a lot of memorable moments from Las Vegas.
They're going to be busy in Las Vegas this weekend, and we'll give you updates and results next week on Pit Pass Day. In the meantime, they're getting awful busy up at Highland Rim Speedway too, Larry. A whole host of things next Thursday night, the 14th at 6:30. There's a driver and owners meeting at the Millersville Civic Auditorium, where they'll finish hashing some things out. And besides that, and I think we've got a list here of all the stuff that's coming up in the next couple of weeks.
There you go.
Here we go. Yeah, the 16th, they're holding their job fair. If you've ever wanted to work at a racetrack, bring your app, bring your information. This is where it'll be a lot of fun. 10 to 2 on the 16th there at the racetrack. I wonder if I need to put in an application for an announcer.
I get 2 applications while you're there.
Well, they probably got somebody better than me already. The first practice day, Saturday, March the 30th, from noon to 6. Their media day moved to April the 6th, from noon to 4. They're going to have the cars on display from 10 to noon, and then they're going to open it up for practice from noon to 4. And then the first race day, Saturday, April 13th. Larry, I don't know about you, but I am so anxious to see some more action on that racetrack up there. Just going to sound corny, I grant you, but there really is something about that first smell of hot tires and oil and the sound and the smell that goes around racetracks. There's just something about it.
And there's something enchanting and charming about going to a track like Highland Rim, an old-fashioned track trying to survive in a new millennium where they race like they used to race half a century ago. And speaking of the media, Joe, there's so many good public interest stories up there. There's a young woman, attractive young woman from Mount Juliet, Hannah Garrett, and she races, and she's also Miss Speedway.
Yeah.
So, I mean, where do you find that? But just so many.
I wonder if the sash gets in the way of.
Well, I think she changes uniforms in between. Okay. But as Hannah was joking, she says, either way, I end up in victory circle. win or lose, I'm up there. But no, just great human interest stories like that. And there's so many of them that go on at Highland Rim and other little racetracks around. It's a sports writer's dream. I spent one summer a few years ago just touring all the little tracks around Middle Tennessee. And man, you could fill up a notebook or
Two or three
at every track. I mean, there are those great stories. And Highland Rim's going to have a lot of them this year. I'm looking forward to following the people up there.
Yeah, you may well find us up there before long. Now, to get there, if you're coming from Nashville, you may well pass Nissan of Rivergate. My buddies Bob McCracken and the boys up there. If you're looking for a new or pre-owned car, trust me, they've got them. They've got the all-new 2013 Nissan Altimas. Yeah, I'm looking at them hard. I ain't going to lie. Yeah. Plus, if you're looking for both something to take care of the environment and get you around safely, the new Nissan Leaf. They've got those actually on the lot and ready to go. That's Nissan of Rivergate. They're on Gallatin Road about a mile south of Rivergate Mall. Larry, that'll kind of draw all this together. We got time to go watch another race this weekend, go by the batter's box, get a little lunch. Yes, I'm buying.
Good. I'll get a photographer over there so we'll record it for posterity.
Surprised you didn't fall out of your chair when I said that. I said that. It ain't happened yet. But next week, we'll have more for you right here on Pit Pass. Hope you'll come back to join us. For Larry Woody, I'm Joe Williams. See you next week right here on Pit Pass.